So we had the budget last week. Good things, well, the removing of the two-child benefit cap. I think that's fantastic to bring nearly 500,000 children out of poverty. But the worry for a lot of people is what was announced around SEND and this warning of a 20 billion time bomb. And essentially what was announced that all SEND funding is going to move from local councils to government, centrally, Department for Education in 2028. Now the maths behind this headline is pretty stark. Councils are projected to have had about 14 billion in SEND related deficits by 2028. On top of that, the rising demand for SEND support is expected to cost the system another 6 billion every single year. When those figures dropped, teachers, heads, Senkos are all thinking if even part of that lands on mainstream school budgets, we are in serious trouble, because this is what a hit of that scale would mean in real schools. Fewer TAs, bigger classes, higher thresholds for support, less early intervention, and even more children falling through the cracks long before an EHCP is ever even issued. As the OBR says, it could lead to a 4.9% real fall in spending per pupil. Now, this has obviously caused quite a reaction within the education profession, and I'm sure with a lot of parents as well. Not because schools are overreacting, but because we know that the system is already stretched to breaking point without a 20 billion hole. And today the Education Secretary said this won't be resolved until the 2027 spending review. In other words, there's no long-term funding plan yet, just a commitment to sort it out later. Now that uncertainty is exactly why the sector is a little bit worried, because rising needs aren't waiting until 2027. Now, to be fair, the government has responded. Bridget Phillipson has said that the OBR scenario that showed a 5% real terms cut to school funding was hypothetical, not policy. She insists that the SEND deficit is a whole of government issue, not something that will be absorbed by the Department for Education or passed down to schools. She also says that those deficits have been building for years because of spiralling costs, especially children being placed miles from home due to lack of local provision. The government says they're already creating more places, investing more year on year, and trying to bring these costs down by ensuring children can access the right provision closer to home. So look, I don't think anyone can disagree with the intention there. More local specialised provision is desperately needed. Schools would welcome that with open arms. The issue isn't the intention, it's that uncertainty. Schools still don't know how that 14 billion deficit will be cleared, how the 6 billion annual shortfall will be funded, whether mainstream budgets will be guaranteed protection, and whether the promised savings from local provision will actually materialise, and when. I think the worry for a lot of teachers and school staff is we can't even think ahead to 2028, 2027, when staff are already trying to support rising numbers of children with increasing needs, these long assessment waits and fewer support staff. The sort of trust us, the money will be figured out later, it's not going to calm the nerves. School staff need the help now. So yeah, the government saying the worst case scenario isn't going to happen. I really, really hope they're right. But schools aren't being negative, they're just being really realistic, because they're in the thick of it now. They need things in place now to support them, to support the students. Because unless there's a clear plan, clear numbers and clear guarantees, the SEND system isn't just under pressure, it's running on hope. And hope doesn't sort the problem out. It doesn't pay for TAs, early intervention, specialist places. Everyone wants a SEND system that works, but wanting it isn't enough. It needs to happen. It needs to have the right funding plan, the right detail, and it needs to happen a lot sooner. It needs to happen now. So I know the white paper's coming, and I know so many staff are just eagerly waiting to see what that will entail.